NFL fans, buckle up because we are less than 1 week away from the 2023 NFL Draft. So welcome to my 8th and final mock draft of this draft season. If you end up liking this video, remember subscribing is always a great idea. Anyways, with the first overall pick, the Carolina Panthers are going to select CJ Stroud. There's been a lot of noise surrounding this pick recently, as most analysts are leaning towards Bryce Young here. However, I'm gonna stick with Stroud as my final pick. This may haunt me later, but I just think he's a safer pick and a better fit for Carolina. Also, I think they traded for the first overall pick with him in mind, not Young. At number 2, the Houston Texans select Bryce Young. Okay, so we know they're going quarterback here. Who's it gonna be? That's the question. I'm going for the Alabama product since the Panthers already got Stroud, but I think there's a real possibility of the Panthers getting Young and Houston getting the Ohio State quarterback instead. Moving on, the Cardinals select Will Anderson. A lot of people are expecting Arizona to trade this pick, but just think about it. 2 quarterbacks are gone. Anthony Richardson is a very risky investment considering his playstyle, and Will Levis' stock has been plummeting recently, so I don't think there will be a trade here, meaning the Cardinals have to get the best player of this draft in Will Anderson. With the 4th overall pick, the Indianapolis Colts select Anthony Richardson. The Florida quarterback is a good fit for Indy, but don't be fooled. The Colts could be playing with us all and ultimately take Will Levis. However, I think the Richardson hype is real, so I have him being taken here in what is 100% a risky pick, but that's just the way it is with boom or bust prospects. Up next, we have the first trade of the day with the Seahawks trading down. The reasoning behind is that Anderson is gone, so Seattle moves back to get more picks and hopefully still get a top tier player. Atlanta, on the other hand, see Tyree Wilson is still on the board and jump the Lions to get him. Wilson is an interesting player because he isn't as good as Will Anderson, but I think he actually has a higher ceiling. Of course, this involves risk, but I think Atlanta will make the call to get their hands in a potential generational talent. At number 6, I have the Lions getting Christian Gonzalez. This is a bold take, I'll admit it, but Anderson and Wilson are off the board. Jalen Carter is a major risk with his legal situation, and Detroit just traded Jeff Okudah. Everything is pointing towards them getting Gonzalez here. That defense would see a massive improvement, and remember, they still have another first round pick, so it isn't over just yet for the Lions. Moving on, the Raiders get Jalen Carter. This would be poetical if come true. Great player with character issues, and the Raiders sounds a little bit familiar, doesn't it? Regardless, we cannot know if the outcome will be the same as with other Raiders players, and who knows, maybe Jalen Carter does live up to the potential of being the best player of the draft, and if that happens, this is a complete steal, getting him all the way down to number 7. With the 8th overall pick, the Seahawks select Nolan Smith. This was an incredibly hard pick to make. Defensive end is arguably their biggest need, and drafting any other position would be a huge reach at number 8. I do think Smith going here is a little too early, but I also think it's the best the Seahawks could do, even though I could also see them going for Myles Murphy or Lucas Van Ness. I feel like it could be either one of them. Up next, the Chicago Bears get Paris Johnson. Dream pick right here for them. I've heard some rumors that the Steelers are looking into trading up for this pick, but I just think Chicago values Johnson way too much. The Ohio State tackle would be a key piece in Justin Fields' development, and the Bears would be getting a solid player with the potential of being one of the best tackles in the league. To close out the top 10, Philly picks Devon Witherspoon. Yes, Myles Murphy and Lucas Van Ness are right there, but I think having Witherspoon available is too big of a gift to let it go. It is a tough pick though, but Witherspoon just feels like a perfect fit, and just imagine that Eagles defense with this guy paired up with Darius Slay. That would be scary. At number 11, the Tennessee Titans get Jackson Smith and Jigba. This move would be insanely smart for the Titans. Think about it. On one hand, they get the best receiver of the class to pair up with Treylon Burks to hopefully get something going, and on the other one, they get a player who most probably would have been taken by their divisional rival Texans the very next pick. If this happens, it's a 1000 IQ move for Tennessee. With the 12th overall pick, the Texans draft Lucas Van Ness. Houston has a wide variety of options at number 12, but I think they will ultimately go for the Iowa defensive end to boost their defense, especially considering they went offense with their previous pick. Also, they need some help in the trenches, and even though Myles Murphy is still on the board, I think they will end up passing on him. Up next, we have another trade. The Jets finally gave up their first round pick to get Aaron Rodgers, and so the Packers used that pick to get Jordan Addison. He can make a case as the best receiver still available, and honestly, I feel like he would fit quite well in Green Bay's scheme. He would help Jordan Love develop, so it's time for the Packers to finally take a wide receiver around 1. At number 14, the New England Patriots get Broderick Jones. 2 cornerbacks are gone, alongside with 2 wide receivers, which are some big holes in New England's roster. However, there's one prospect that's still on the board. Broderick Jones could end up being the best tackle of the draft, and I'm pretty sure the Patriots won't pass on him if available. With the 15th overall pick, the Packers get Myles Murphy. They went offense 2 picks ago, so why not head over to the the other side of the ball now. Murphy would be a day one starter in the Bay, and his game could be a massive asset to a defense which is pretty much on the edge of being top of the league. This could end up being a steal since Murphy has tons of raw talent and could even end up being a top NFL edge rusher. Moving on, the Commanders draft Will Levis. Yes, this is my final and hopefully most realistic mock draft, and I still think Levis will fall all the way down to 16 and maybe even further down. Just think about what happened to Malik Willis last year. Anyways, Levis could end up being Washington's long-term solution at quarterback, so I think they're gonna take their shot here at 16. With the 17th pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers draft Joey Porter. With Gonzalez and Witherspoon off the board, I think it's pretty clear that the Steelers have Porter ranked as the best corner available. They could go for a tackle, but the top two are gone, and Peter Skoronski will most likely play as a guard, which isn't as big of a need for Pittsburgh. By getting Porter, they can keep their defense afloat, and remember the Steelers also have pick 32 to fill up more holes. Up next, the Detroit Lions get Bijan Robinson. Yes, this is a crazy pick, but I really think this will happen. Jamal Williams is gone, and DeAndre Swift is playing the last year of his contract. Drafting Robinson could mean a powerful 1-2 punch for this amazing offense, or a cheap rookie replacement for Swift if he leaves next year. Think about it, it makes complete sense. At number 19, the Buccaneers get Peter Skoronski. As time goes by, I'm more and more convinced Tampa Bay will go for an offensive lineman here. By getting Skoronski, they would be acquiring an incredibly versatile player who was once ranked as a top 10 prospect, and his downfall in draft boards hasn't been due to production, but rather due to the belief that he will play as a guard in the NFL, which isn't valued as much as tackle in the draft. Moving on, the Seattle Seahawks get Zay Flowers. Even though they have DK Metcalf and Lockett, wide receiver is still a relatively big need for Seattle. Flower has the potential to be a generational talent, and if he's available at number 20, I'm pretty sure the Seahawks would make the call immediately. With the 21st pick, the Chargers get Jalen Hyatt. The receiving corp is good, but let's not fool ourselves. It's 100% injury prone. Hyatt fits in perfectly in an offense led by Justin Herbert, and his playmaking is amazing, which would most certainly turn this offense into one of the most explosive ones in the league. At number 22, the Baltimore Ravens get Cam Smith. I've heard they really like his game, and with most wide receivers gone, and them getting OBJ just recently, cornerback is arguably their biggest hole right now. Smith has the potential to be a top 10 CB in the NFL, so I see why the Ravens would get him here. Up next, the Vikings get Quentin Johnston. Outside of Justin Jefferson, they don't really have a top playmaker on offense. I know for a fact the Vikings are looking at Johnson, and they even had him visit the team's facility a couple of weeks ago. This is a good fit, and honestly, I would love to see a TCU receiver being paired with the best wideout in the NFL. With the 24th overall pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars get Deonte Banks. In this scenario, it would be a coin toss between him and Osiris Torrance, but I think Banks would end up being the pick as most of the top corners are gone, and Jacksonville can still get a good lineman later in the draft without any major issue. Moving on, the Giants get Josh Downs. I'm pretty confident on the Giants taking either a wide receiver or a cornerback here. Pretty much every top corner is gone, and the only receiver round 1 worthy available is Josh Downs, which is why I have New York taking him here. In addition to that, I feel like he would be amazing in this offense as he has some insane footwork, and the Giants don't have any top wide receiver. At number 26, the Cowboys get Kalaja Kancey. Yeah, I know this isn't an ideal situation for Dallas. I mean, Bijan Robinson is gone and pretty much every top wide receiver as well. However, Kancey is right there, and he could be a valuable asset for this defense, which would see a big improvement on the D-line with him in it. With the 27th overall pick, the Buffalo Bills get Trenton Simpson. I know Osiris Torrance is right there, but I feel like having Simpson on the board is too big of an opportunity to pass on. The Clemson linebacker has the potential and talent to become the best one in the NFL, but of course, he has also some bust potential. Regardless, I think the Bills will get him to replace Tremaine Edmonds in a defense which will try and stay at the top next season. Moving on, the Cincinnati Bengals select Michael Mayer. They can do a lot of things with this pick, but I think their best option is to get a tight end. I think Mayer is the best one of the class, even though Dalton Kincaid is a close second. However, in my opinion, the Notre Dame player is a better fit on this offense, which is why I have the Bengals taking him over Kincaid. Up next, the Saints get Brian Breeze. This is a risky pick that has the potential to be a steal. Breeze has crossed a very tough path to get where he is now, and his good combine performance is really the only reason he's still considered a first rounder by many. I love his work ethic, and I really do think the Saints will roll the dice and take him here at number 29. With the 30th overall pick, the Philadelphia Eagles get Brian Branch. I know for a fact they are keeping a close eye on him, and if he's there at number 30, they will at least ponder the possibility of taking him. Branch would be a good fit and could take over CJ Gardner-Johnson's spot in the defense, so I think this works perfectly. And to end the mock, the Kansas City Chiefs draft Darnell Wright. The Tennessee tackle has been overlooked by many in this draft season, even though he's pretty much up there with the top linemen. The Chiefs need some help in the trenches, and Darnell Wright would provide just that, which is why I think this would be the perfect pick for the Chiefs. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.